Today, I would like to talk about 5 reasons why I am done with merino wool t-shirts, especially for travel. And this is kind of a follow-up video to the one that I did about my favorite fabrics for travel. In that video, I touched a little bit about why merino, for me, is not the best travel fabric in t-shirts. And some people agreed with me, some people disagreed. And I kind of feel like that topic deserves a little bit more details, and that it's also time to have a little bit more of a realistic conversation about the limitations of merino wool. So in today's video, I want to share my personal experience with t-shirts out of merino wool and why I honestly believe that the downsides of merino wool t-shirts really outweigh the benefits by far. And I really wanted to do this video because I think that today is kind of hard to find balanced reviews, especially with the amount of marketing push and really paid endorsement around merino wool products for travel. And I totally get it that individual experiences may vary, and also just like we are totally different people with different bodies and different needs, there's 5,000 different merino products out there. And I also think a lot of it depends on how you travel. If you're just gone for the weekend and happily wear the same t-shirt for 2 days in a row, it's probably a little bit different than when you actually travel with the same t-shirt for months, wearing it all the time, and especially having to wash it during your travels. So in today's video, as I said, I want to share 5 reasons why I'm done with merino wool t-shirts. And let's start with reason number 1. The first reason is that many influencers promote the claim of merino wool that you can really go for weeks and wear it for days on end without having to wash it. And that even then it will not smell. From my experience, the reality is that yes, it does minimize some odors, but so do other fabrics. And it's also not completely odor-proof like they claim it is. It obviously always depends a little bit on the fabric itself. But just as an example, get a good pair of merino hiking socks, wear it for 2 days straight, and then they smell as well. So in my opinion, things like humidity or how much you sweat in the weather or what activities you do will always lead to smelly clothes. So in my opinion, it's just as necessary to wash merino wool t-shirts, especially during intense activities. I usually wash my t-shirts not because they smell, but usually just because they are dirty or soaked full of my sweat, or I have been on an airplane for the last 2 days. And I feel a little bit like when people start discussing the benefits of merino wool and it not sweating, that they always just compare it to the cheapest synthetic t-shirts they could find. In my opinion, there's lots of great materials between at lots of different price points in between that just work as well. The second reason why I'm done with merino wool is because I don't believe it's perfect for all climates. I mean, yes, it's true that merino wool has some moisture wicking properties, but that does not really negate the fact that wool provides insulation. Wool is wool, and for me, wool is a warm fabric. I really enjoy wearing wool in the winter or in colder temperatures, and I think it even may be okay in warm weather, maybe even in an Austrian summer, because it really does not get that warm on most days. And it's also okay probably for moderate temperature swings. But for me personally, it is just way too warm in hot and humid conditions. So for example, last summer when we were in Spain and we had 40 degrees every day, the last thing I wanted to wear are my merino t-shirts, and they are not even of a very thick quality. And this issue gets even worse for me in humid climates. And yes, lightweight merino fabrics may perform a little bit better in conditions like that, but then they are quite fragile, which brings me to my next point. The third reason why I'm done with merino wool is because it's just way too fragile in my opinion. This t-shirt that I'm currently wearing is actually one of the last few merino t-shirts that I have left, and this will probably be the last time that you see it, because just like all the other merino t-shirts I have ever owned, within a very short period of time it just develops holes. This one got a very nice big hole right here where I always have my backpack straps, and this is the typical place where for me merino wool t-shirts tend to rip apart. Same with here around the belt. So over the years I owned lots of different merino wool t-shirts from different brands, and I only have one t-shirt now left with merino wool that surprisingly lasted me for a few years now. And my guess is that it holds up because 50% of that t-shirt is actually out of polyester. And apart from that one long sleeve t-shirt that surprisingly lasted, I have been wearing tons of merino t-shirts, and most of them did not last longer than a few months, or sadly sometimes even barely a few weeks. So for me, the reality is, even when I take extra care of those t-shirts, for me they always develop holes or pilling. And if merino wool t-shirts were cheaper, I probably would not mind that much, but having to frequently replace damaged merino t-shirts is just out of my budget. And from my experience, when you want to wear merino wool t-shirts, you should be prepared to replace them sooner as you might expect. So for me, this is another huge downside that really negates many possible benefits. Reason number 4 is probably the biggest issue for me, and that is just that caring for merino wool while traveling is really a nightmare. It's a popular claim that you always hear that merino is easy to care for, but of 99% of the brands, when you look at their product pages of their t-shirts and you scroll down to the parts that are in the small print, you will figure out that the care instructions are actually quite special. Because for me, there are 3 things that I want to be able to do while traveling that I cannot do with merino wool. The first one is that I cannot use normal laundry detergent because it's just usually not compatible with wool. There's a very handful of brands and their t-shirts that are actually able to handle normal detergent, but then again they have usually a higher amount of polyester or other synthetics in them. But normal merino wool, pure merino wool, cannot handle normal laundry detergent, which would mean that I would need to bring a second laundry detergent just for my merino wool t-shirts. And yes, many people say that you can just use shampoo on your clothes, but in my opinion that's also only just a short-term solution, and only if you use like a baby shampoo without any additives in a certain pH value, because everything else will as well break down the lanolin and the properties of your merino wool. The second thing I cannot do, which is essential for me when traveling, especially for longer periods of time, is that I want to be able to wash it in a laundromat or use the hotel laundry services. And both of them are usually not equipped to really care for merino wool. For example, if you look at the laundromats, there is usually a sign there that their laundry detergent that they automatically provide to the laundry is not suitable for wool. And the third thing that I cannot do with merino wool, which is really important for me, is to throw it in a dryer, because air drying can be quite complicated, especially in very humid environments. Then not even merino wool will dry if it's just too humid. During the editing, I just noticed that I forgot to mention a bonus myth, and that is just that merino wool dries faster than any other fabric. This does not really match my experience and is not really true for my clothes. A while ago, I did a video about my favorite travel fabrics, and there I did a wash test to simulate kind of the worst case scenario to see how long my clothes would dry. So I washed all my t-shirts by hand and hung them up to dry, just like I usually would when traveling. And there were actually 2 winners who were done at the exact same time, after 4 hours, I think. And that was my long sleeve t-shirt, that's a mixture of 50% merino, 50% polyester. But the second one, also at the same time, was my 100% cotton t-shirt. The next runner-up was my polyester t-shirt, and my other t-shirts that also included some merino needed much longer. So for me, the myth that it dries much faster than any other fabric is simply not true. In my opinion, it also depends on how the fabric is made, how thin the material is, and lots of other things. So for example, I have merino wool socks that need much longer to dry than any other of my socks out of other materials, simply because they're made much thicker. So for me, the only thing that is true to say is that thinner t-shirts, doesn't matter out of which material, will dry faster than thicker t-shirts. And now back to the normal content. So for me, good travel clothes are all about convenience. I want to be able to just wash them any way I want, dry them quickly, throw at them whatever my life brings. And I feel like special care requirements are kind of the opposite of convenient. So for me personally, this is another massive downside of merino wool. And reason number 5 why I am done with merino wool is just the price tag. I know that many claim that the benefits of merino wool justify the high costs, and I totally get it that merino wool is like a great raw material and that it takes time and lots of effort to produce it, especially if you produce it sustainably and animals are treated well. and therefore obviously it has its price. But the reality for me is that first off, it's about the most expensive t-shirt that you can buy. Here in Europe, the ones that I buy are usually between 60 and 90 euros. And then the durability issues again lead to frequent replacements, and that just gets too expensive. From my perspective, it is a little bit absurd to pay that much money for a t-shirt that doesn't really live up to my needs. I can buy multiple high quality and much more durable t-shirts out of other fabrics for the price of one merino t-shirt. And then they cost me less and they last longer. So for me personally, the price is just another major downside. So these are 5 reasons why, in my opinion, merino wool does not really live up to the expectations and the hype around it. I personally don't notice much difference in odor control. I don't think that they are temperature regulating at all. At least I always get way too hot. I find them not very durable. They break on me all the time. The care is complicated, and then the price is extremely high. So this is for me the reason why I'm over merino t-shirts for travel. For me personally, there's just no way around these downsides. So these are my 5 cents on the topic. I totally understand that everybody is different and everybody travels different, and then there's lots of different products and brands that produce merino t-shirts. I think it's up to everyone to decide for themselves what they think works for them and does their research. For me personally, merino is just not the fabric that I want to travel with, and I would be very curious to hear about your experiences in the comments. So obviously this video has not been sponsored by anyone, and this is just my honest opinion after buying into the merino hype for way too long. If you like this video, consider subscribing to my channel or maybe even to my monthly newsletter. And other than that, thanks for watching and I see you in the next video. Bye!